Okay, hello guys. Welcome to the Toffee Blues, a special edition of the Toffee Blues. This is an extra time reaction to the Everton 1, Millonarios 1 draw that ended with a 10-9 penalty win for Everton, getting to lift the Florida Cup. So, joining me today, I have Jeff Wallner, the other half of the Cincinnati Toffees, who joined us in Florida. Jeff, how you doing today, buddy?
I am good, Jacob. How are you?
I am doing okay. I'm really tired. Uh, this
Likewise.
entire vacation, I have I've gotten up unreasonably early. It's like 6:30 every morning that I've gotten up without an alarm. So I guess my body just wants as much vacation time as possible. Don't know, but I'm really tired. So, but other than that, I'm great. So, so we're gonna just get into this real quick. We'll go over just our general reaction to the match, and then specific players, the new boys, and the goals, and how the atmosphere was, and then we'll wrap it up real quick. All right, so why don't
Sure.
you start us off, Jeff? What were your overall reactions of the match?
I thought it was an incredibly entertaining match, and I think that the Evertonians that were in attendance were loud and they were vocal, and the songs and the chants and the cheers and everything were constant. And I think everyone enjoyed themselves from a quality standpoint. I think from a preseason standpoint, I think it was I think it was a good. It was good. It was good. Everybody got their work in. I think we saw some players that showed some quality, showed some effort. I think there were some other players that didn't maybe display the same level of quality that we would hope. But no, it was good for a preseason match. I think um, it was an excellent 90 minutes, and you come away with a win, and you win a cup. Obviously, we have um, things that are maybe more important as well, in that because it's here in the States, and Everton's commitment to building their brand and building fan support in the States. It was a tremendous atmosphere. It really was. And the result really isn't as important, but to come away with a win, to come away with a cup, and to do it in the manner in which they did, it, it was it was an amazing evening all around, and I think everyone had a great time.
I would 100% agree with that. I thought first half was a bit rough on the eyes, especially if you're coming and watching Everton for the first time. It's obviously a preseason friendly, so you can't expect them to be coming out of the gate full fitness, you know going all out for every ball, every 50-50 ball, challenging for it. They're just trying to build up their match fitness. And in it ridiculous for them, Florida heat and humidity, I'm sure it was pretty miserable to play in. First half was rough. Second half, they came out, made some changes. Damari Gray came on. He was really bright. Nathan Broadhead came on. He was really bright. Some good performance. Those guys. Anthony Gordon had some good minutes in there. We got to see Begovic for all 90 minutes, which was pretty cool. And obviously, we'll talk about him a little bit later. But overall, it was a pretty cool experience. And I thought the match was a lot of fun. Millonarios came to play, and they came out and kind of punched Everton in the mouth for the first 20 minutes, and really put it to them. And it took some guts for Everton to come back and tie the game and then win it in the most penalties I've probably ever seen in my life. So, but the match was phenomenal. I thought it was a ton of fun. Getting to sing with all of the Evertonians from around the United States was super cool. Getting to, listen to Tim Howard and Darren Griffiths have a little talk at the tailgate. The tailgate itself was amazing. The party on Saturday night at the Harp and Celtic and the Harp and Celt in downtown Orlando was really, really cool. So, but yeah, excellent experience. So now let's move on to those new players. So we got to see Damari Gray, we got to see Andros Townsend, and we got to see Asmir Begovic all perform. And what were your thoughts on all three of those new players?
Well, I thought Damari Gray, when he came on, I think he made an impact. He showed pace and he showed skill. Andres Townsend, as you mentioned on Twitter earlier today, Jake, I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is going to be really pleased with the service he's going to receive from Andres Townsend. And so I think both of those guys showed themselves pretty well. Again, it's just preseason. Guys are just getting their work in. It's all about fitness. It's all about not getting injured. It's about getting your work in and just kind of establishing that relationship with your teammates. Begovic was outstanding. And I think the thing that impresses me most, and the penalty that was notwithstanding, he went out there last night, and that was a match that mattered to him. He approached it like it was a match that mattered to him, and he had an amazing 90 minutes even before the penalties. And what kind of struck me initially in training was, and I think it commented to you, is when he came out for warm-ups. That's a big guy. That's a strapping goaltender. He's a big guy. He's long. He's got that length. He's got those arms. He's got everything you look for in a goaltender. Obviously, you get that deep into penalties, and you get into the kind of novelty of the keepers, the game resting on the shoulders of the keepers. But yeah, I thought he was great. I thought they all shown themselves very well. And that relationship between Andres Townsend and Dominic Calvert-Lewin is something that's going to have to develop over the season, and we'll see how that goes. But I think all three of those guys shown themselves very well yesterday at Camping World Stadium.
Yeah, I was impressed. I was impressed by all three of those guys yesterday. Asmir Begovic made some big saves in the first half. Some of those were pretty impressive saves too. It's not like they were super easy or anything like that. He wasn't really worked a whole lot in the second half. Everton kind of dominated the second half. When it was time for him to do the penalties, he was good. He probably could have saved 3 penalties instead of 2. He did guess right on the one guy and got a fingertip or a couple of fingertips to it, and it kind of snuck past him. But overall, I was impressed with him. He had good distribution. His distribution was pretty solid overall. He didn't make any mistakes, and you were right. I had never seen Asmir Begovic in person, obviously, and he's a big man, but like on TV, you don't really see him and be like, wow, Asmir Begovic, he's a big guy, but he's massive. He's really tall and he's pretty broad. So it was pretty cool to see him. Damari Gray came on in the second half and he was lighting it up, making good runs, creating problems for the Millonarios back line. Obviously, he buried the penalty to tie the match. And, when Everton won that penalty, everyone around me was kind of looking at me like, who do you think's going to take it? And I'm like, I don't know, Damari Gray, maybe, because there was no pure penalty taker on the pitch. So, but it was cool because I think I read this morning that he kind of stepped up and said, I'll take it. So I know it was a discussion between him, and I couldn't see who the other 2 players were. I imagine Nathan Broadhead was in on that discussion because he is the under 23 penalty taker, I believe. So, but he buried it, and he buried it well, and he buried his second penalty during the penalty shootout. So I thought he played really well. Andres Townsend was very impressive. I thought at times maybe he drifted a little bit too far in too often, which kind of left the left side or the right side, open a little bit for Millonarios. But other than that, he was bright, and we saw his specialty. He put more than a fair share of crosses into the box, and a couple of them probably, if Dominic Calvert-Lewin was in, probably would have been turned into goals, especially that one to Moise Keane kind of midway through the first half. And obviously had his super strike bounce off the crossbar, which was unfortunate. And then when I got home, I finally got to hear the commentary on the reaction from that strike, and it was hilarious. People were making fun of it. It had something along the lines of "Oh my sweet apple pie" or something like that. And I'm like, what? I don't even know how to react to that. What kind of commentary is that? So, but it was exciting. All those, I think all three of those guys are going to be able to help Everton. You know, if Begovic can play like that against all competition, then he can easily push Jordan Pickford just as well as Olsen did. So it was fun. You know, I'm glad those guys got to get some time in. So, what about the? How did you feel about the the atmosphere in the stadium? Because you know it looked pretty good. What do you think?
I thought it was tremendous, and the Millonarios fans were, in no surprise, right? You're talking about one of the biggest clubs in Colombia. South American clubs bring the atmosphere. We know that. There's going to be the drums. There's going to be the smoke. There's going to be the banners. They're very active, and it was a tremendous atmosphere from them. I think I was really impressed with the Evertonians, and I know Tony Sampson this morning was kind of asking for our thoughts to provide kind of an estimate on how many Evertonians were in the stadium last night. And I think we all agree that it was probably roughly 3,000, because I know we had at least probably 1,000 behind the goal in the corners. And then there were kazoo kits kind of sprinkled on the sides, pretty much all the way down the pitch. It was hard to tell because obviously Millonarios is also blue, but you could kind of distinguish the kazoo from the Pepsi logos. But yeah, it was just so cool. And kudos to the guys in our section who kept the songs going pretty much constant throughout. And the fact that, you know, we understand that this week you had Inter Milan bailing out, you had Arsenal bailing out. So they pretty much just kind of moved everyone to behind each goal and then just the right side where the fans were. But the fans that were there were tremendous. I think everyone was great. I enjoyed the Millonarios fans that we interacted with, and obviously loved the Evertonians, particularly in section 120 and 119. The ushers that allowed us to pretty much just go where we wanted once the penalties started, so that we could kind of fill in behind the goal. And then once, you know, Begovic made the save, and there were a lot of hugs, strangers hugging strangers. And you know, it's funny because like this is a preseason match. It's really immaterial. It's all about the guys getting their work in, right? But for us, for American Evertonians, and I think to a degree for the club as well, they knew how important this match was, because this is important to the club. It's important to the club to put on a good show for their American fans. There's a lot of work going on at Everton to build their brand and increase the fan base here in North America. So this was more than just your normal preseason friendly. And I think the club approached it like that, and the fans certainly did. So I thought it was a great night all around. And my voice is just now coming back. So, but as I'm sure yours as well, Jake. But yeah, it was a great night all around.
Yeah, so I was actually I hadn't really spoken to anybody all day, so before we got on here, I was kind of testing out my voice to make sure that it sounded okay, to make sure that I wasn't going to be completely hoarse while trying to record this for everybody. So, but yeah, atmosphere wise, it was pretty cool. So, for those of you who don't know, really only one side of the stadium you were allowed to sit on. So it was one side of the lower bowl was completely full. And I turned to somebody and I said before the match started, as I was kind of checking out the crowd, I'm like, for the tickets available for what we're doing today, this is basically a sellout. And I had a couple people, and I think Jeff was one of them, who kind of agreed with that statement. You know, the Millonarios people brought a lot. I would say that they probably brought more than Everton, just as a hunch. I'm sure it was pretty close in numbers, but they definitely brought a lot of people. And even if they didn't, a lot of those Colombians are, you know, probably cheering on Millonarios, or if they're not, they're only cheering on James Rodriguez, who played 45 minutes. So it was, for one, it was cool to see him. We didn't even mention him earlier, but man, it was cool to see James Rodriguez in person playing for Everton. So I know a lot of you Scousers haven't actually seen him in person. So I'm sorry if you get a little bit jealous at that statement, but I actually got to see him play. Atmosphere wise, it was really cool. The Millonarios fans had a giant tifo that they unveiled before kickoff, and they did the flares and they had the drums and they had the flag. So it was cool. Those Colombian fans, all of those South American countries are so crazy about their football, and obviously they are everywhere in the world, but those South Americans, it's like their lifeblood. It's like a part of who they are. So to get to see them in person and kind of seeing what it's all about to them was awesome. And you and I, we got to take some pictures with some Millonarios fans before the match as we were walking in. They were super cool. So it was nice to see that. And getting that picture with them was a cool memory. And
so how cool was it that when James took the corner on our side, and pretty much everyone, and if you, I'm not sure how on the stream, if you could really like kind of see, but it was really a sea of blue and yellow, because you had blue Millonarios kits, you had blue Everton kits, and then you had a little bit of sprinkle of yellow because of the Colombian kits sprinkled throughout the crowd. And when James took the corner, kind of like right in the middle of everyone, it was amazing. You had everyone raising their cell phones to take a picture of James standing there in the corner, and everyone, with regardless of what kit you had on, were chanting James, 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 and you could tell that like this guy's just he's eating it up. That he was in his element at that point. But yeah, the Millonarios fans were. I thought it was funny, Jake, when we walked into the stadium, we get through security, and the one guy approached me and handed me a cell phone and said, "Take a picture." Well, I assumed he meant I would take a picture of just that. And then he said, no, and he didn't really speak any English. He said, no, all of you, I want a picture with us and you. So that's when we got our picture with the Millonarios fans. So it was fun all around. It was a great atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of us, it was our first time too. So just being there and watching those guys you watch every single weekend, week in and week out. Some of those, we had a couple of the San Diego guys come over, so they're getting up at sometimes 4:30 in the morning, or staying up all night to watch Everton Football Club, and that added to it. And for a lot of us, we were all hanging out all weekend, so we had become close friends essentially with our internet friends who we had only seen as like an avatar on Twitter for however long we've been interacting together. So that was a really cool part of it too, just to be able to celebrate the goal and celebrate the win. And I get it. It's the Florida Cup. It's not like we won the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, or we won the Champions League or the Premier League. But at the same time, like it's cool. You got to see Everton win something, and obviously the players are kind of rolling their eyes as they're being handed a trophy, and they're being walked out by a minion and Gru, which I'm sure was hilarious. Seamus Coleman is leading his team onto the field. But it was just it was a really excellent experience, and the atmosphere it couldn't have been better, and the weather was really hot when the match started, but as that sun went down, things cooled off, and I think everyone kind of settled in a little bit more, both fans and supporters. So let's get some closing thoughts on the whole. Let's do the whole weekend, Jeff. I know you're going to be here until Wednesday, so you're going to be going to the match with us, and you'll get to see Millonarios play their rivals. I want to say their I don't remember. Do you know what their name is? I can't. I'm blanking.
No. I know we have Pumas, which is certainly one of the top teams in Mexico. So
your thoughts on the weekend as a whole? obviously you and I got to see a lot of each other. So what did you think about this whole weekend?
You kind of touched on it. I think this weekend was more, it obviously was important for Everton to get their preseason work in, to build match fitness, to prepare for the season. But this trip was about celebrating American Evertonians. And the best part about the weekend so far has just been our ability to meet the people that a lot of us have only met through Twitter, only met through social media, and to meet everyone in person and to interact and just kind of celebrate being Evertonians here in America. And then for the club, actually, this is, the Arsenal and Inter Milan cancellations. Kudos to the Florida Cup for being able to bring in. Obviously, we still had Millonarios, which is a top team from Colombia, to bring in Pumas, a top team from Mexico. Everton's getting some good work in, and they're getting challenged in preseason, which is what you want. And then after they leave here, you've got United at Old Trafford. So this is a good preseason. This is one of the best preseasons, I think, for Everton in terms of building match fitness and being challenged in preseason matches. Really looking forward to, within the next hour, I'll be heading over to the Plaza Live Theater here in Orlando for a special event with Tim Howard. We'll also be having a book signing with David France, who wrote the book Toffee Soccer, celebrating the connections between North America and Everton. So it's going to be another great night. And then kind of tomorrow we're kind of on our own. And then Wednesday will be another tailgate. Kudos to Lauren Shields and the Orlando Toffees and to the club for supplying so much for our tailgates prior to the matches. It's just been amazing. Food, drinks, tents, flags, scarves. It's just amazing what the club has done for us. And that is so Everton to step up and make sure that the international fans are taken care of. So there's a lot more to come this week, but from a club standpoint, getting a lot of good work in. And last night could not have been better. We saw a lot of individuals get a lot of good work in. We saw some good performances. It is hot here. So I joked yesterday, right, Jake, that I think we're probably going to be the team, and we're going to be the best. We're going to be in the best shape of any Premier League club team, because no Premier League club team is training in this. I'm telling you, it is 100 heat index. That is Fahrenheit. Yes. So we're getting some work in, and that's good. American fans, it's been a long time coming to see our beloved Everton here on American soil. So this has just been tremendous.
So I got in Saturday afternoon, evening. I talked to you. I had some stress about hotel reservations. And once I got that squared away, I was able to kind of relax, focus on meeting people, focus on drinking. I had a lot to drink on Saturday night. I met a ton of just super awesome people. I briefly got to meet David France at the bar, which was really cool. He's obviously massive. I got to meet Tony from Chicago, which is also really cool. And, some people I've been interacting with on Twitter for, years now. And they only, just like me, I only know them as a little avatar. They know me as a little avatar. And I've been on this show a couple of different times, and I know Jeff has been on this show a couple of different times, but we've never talked to any of these people face to face. But it was super easy. It was like meeting a long lost friend. Like, it's nice to see you. Let's grab a drink, and everyone is buying everyone drinks. And for me, this has been a really special weekend. I hadn't really had a chance to kind of sit down and let it sink in. So since Saturday afternoon / evening, I've just kind of been going with it. And I don't think I've had a smile not on my face the whole time. I know we had a group picture of us and all the other Ohio Toffees that came down that I'm in a group chat with. And the people in that group chat were like, man, Jacob could not be any happier. And they're totally right. Getting to watch Everton in person and getting to meet all these people. I kind of got emotional this morning when I woke up and I was kind of packing and getting ready to go to the airport. This is a huge club. It's a really special club to me. So being able to experience this was pretty darn cool. And I kind of was kicking myself. I'm like, man, I should have just taken my whole vacation this week and stayed for the match on Wednesday. But I'm not gonna complain about what I've been able to experience. This has been worth every damn penny. So what an incredible weekend. It's probably the greatest weekend of my life until I go to Goodison Park. And I've now told everyone that it's Goodison or bust for the next time I watch Everton. So
It's funny
that's
because and this is what Everton does, right? So I decide, well, I'm trying to figure out where to go to lunch today, and I figured, well, I'll just go back to the Harp and Kelp because that's kind of been our home base, and I know what the menu is. So I catch an Uber, I go to Harp and Kelp. I'm there by myself, and I'm thinking I'm just gonna have lunch, then head back to the hotel and get ready for the Tim Howard stuff. And then pretty soon, the New York Evertonians come in. Paul Brown from San Diego and Korish come in. Andy from Syracuse comes in. Pretty soon, like the bartenders are like giving us like free Jameson shots. And by the time we get to like 3, like, what just happened? I was just, but that's Everton.
yeah.
So yeah, it's been amazing. Been amazing.
Right. Well, Jeff, this was a lot of fun. I think we pretty much covered everything that we could go over from yesterday and the weekend that was. So I want to thank you for coming on to this show and chit chatting with me. It's always easy when you and me sit down because we could just sit there and gab
Talk
on
footy
about
for
Everton
hours.
for
Talk
hours
footy.
and hours and hours, and then we could get others involved. So I really appreciate it. I know you're getting ready to go watch Tim Howard in a special event, which will be, I'm sure, pretty awesome. So appreciate it. I hope you have a safe trip home when you're coming home later this week. So thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. It's a pleasure. Great to hang out this weekend. And we'll see you soon at Dana Gardens.
Yes.
The Cincy Toffees will be back in just
right.
a couple of weeks.
Yes, August 14th, Everton kickoff against Southampton at home at Goodison Park. It's a 10 a.m. kick for us in the East Coast, you West Coasters. That's 7 a.m. Good luck. Have fun with that one. As always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you follow the Toffee Blues on Twitter. Mine and Jeff's social media will probably be tagged in this as well. If not, mine is at Jake Holton 12 on Twitter, and his is at Jeff Wallner on Twitter. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you follow the Toffee Blues. As always, thank you guys so much for watching this. It's kind of cool for me to kind of host this show. I know you guys are usually used to Jerry, and I found myself kind of feeling sorry. I kind of felt guilty for all of those who couldn't be with us this weekend or on Wednesday. So to all of you who couldn't make it, I'm really sorry, and I'm really hoping that I get to see all of you guys soon. So other than that, up the Toffees. Jeff, you have yourself a good day and enjoy the match on Wednesday, okay, buddy?
Up the Toffees. Safe travels, Jake.
Yeah, you too. I'll see you later.